In 1894, Milton Hershey founded the Hershey Chocolate Company. It would go on to become perhaps the most famous candy company in all the world. Did you know, however, that before he started Hershey's, he had 2 other failed candy companies? That's right, he was a failure and a loser. Less than 10 years after Hershey started, another pair of miserable failures, named the Wright brothers, crashed countless planes before they finally got their shit together and achieved flight. You know who else failed back then? Albert Einstein. He had a failed marriage. What a bum. Today, Milton Hershey's legacy is on the line. Can he make up for his past failures with the Snacking Podcast win? We're about to find out. You tried it. You Tried Dat. Here we are. It's the Snacking Podcast. I'm Nick Novak with my pals Chad Hancock.
Howdy.
Nick Geiger.
Hey there.
Guys, any recent failures?
I had a little something of a failure of thought, which was just like some question I wanted to ask you guys. Wanted to get your opinion on this real quick. If a gingerbread man is living in a gingerbread house, is he made out of house or is the house made out of flesh?
Age-old question.
I guess he's made out of house. That's
Yeah.
less disturbing.
All right, great. Settled.
All right, so recently I witnessed this.
Okay, so anyway, the story I'm going to tell.
I witnessed this recently at work, and maybe you guys have some stories that are similar to this, or you've either been a part of something like this, or you've been in charge of something like this. But I was in the break room at work, and a coworker went to the fridge, pulled out the creamer because he was making himself some coffee, and he looked really confident in doing it. Pulled it out, started pouring it in his coffee. A lady came up behind him and started clearing her throat, and he turned around and said, "Oh, is this yours?" And she said, "Yeah." And so caught, he said, "You got me. I was using your creamer."
Was it like a really obvious, like a big piece of tape with her name on it or something?
No, it wasn't labeled or anything, but he clearly knew it was his, and he knew when he was caught, and he thought the best method, which seemed, in retrospect, a pretty good method, was just to laugh boisterously and say, "You got me. I was using it." But I think that's a common thing that you hear about where people eat other people's food that's left in like a communal fridge. Where at your workplaces, do you have that happen, or do people label their lunches with names, or what do you see?
I'm surprised you don't have like a communal creamer there or something. Usually, I feel like there's some stuff that most offices will provide that are in general, you know, like you don't have to bring in your own individual packets of coffee and stuff, right? I think.
Yeah, it's very common there. Well, so we all label our stuff. So I'll bring lunch in, and I'm too lazy to usually write my name on it, but like you got to be a sick freak to go through someone's actual leftovers that their forks might have been stuck in last night and eat it. I'm sure that happens, but I've never had it happen to me. We do have communal like creamers and stuff, but there is like people will bring in like their own salad dressing that they like from home, or like certain dietary things. They'll have like a little thing of milk that's just for them if they have like lactose problems, or like, I don't know, they're allergic to lettuce or something like that. So they bring their own stuff in, and occasionally those get eaten. We don't have the problem with people stealing other people's food. What we'll typically have is like people robbing our kitchen. So we have like a weekly pea pie delivery come in, and it used to be really bad in the past where someone would just walk out with an entire box of tea, and then they had to send out an email like, "This is not a grocery store. You know, like the tea is here for you to drink while you're at work. Please stop." Like, there's no way we drank 250 packets of tea in 6 hours or something like that. So that's usually what happens, but not too many people steal on purpose. Novak, you told me you used to go through there and just eat everyone's lunches. Is that true?
I did. I would just take a bite and spit it into trash. Just try out a little bit of each one. That's where I came up with the name of the podcast, actually.
We had like such an abundance of stuff at work that it's hard sometimes to give away food, you know, like after we did the V8 versus V8 Splash episode, and I had that giant jug of V8 Splash, And I think I texted you guys pictures of this, but I took it into work and just stuck it in the fridge. And it took like 3 weeks before anybody even cracked it open to drink it because they just kept passing it over in favor of, all the other stuff that's in there.
Now ours is sort of the opposite, where something will get put in the lounge, and then someone will send out an email saying cookies in the lounge, and then I'll be down there as quick as humanly possible, and there'll be like a line of trampled bodies and like people just trying to get these cookies, which you wouldn't even eat on a regular, if you were at home.
There's a lot of times that there'll be a meeting, so they order lunch and there's leftovers. So yeah, same thing. You'll get a message like there's free pizza in the kitchen, or there's leftover, Mediterranean in the kitchen, and you just see like swarms of zombies heading to the kitchen, like running over there, slovenly assholes that can't afford their own lunch. Sometimes it's me. It's also stupid too, because I'll go in there to get my lunch, or I'll like go and buy lunch, come back and see free food, and like, and like eat some of it, even though I have lunch in my hand. It's just something about free leftovers there that you want to eat.
Well, we had one year we did this experiment where we would try to leave increasingly less appetizing food on the table, like during our lunchtime, and then because I was part of a group who had an earlier lunchtime, and then come back at the end of the day and see if it was still there. So we started with just basic stuff that people would want, like a cookie and things like that. None of that was ever there. And then we just kept getting weirder, like loose carrots and like stuff with bites out of it. And lo and behold, there was never a thing that was not eaten. Like the bottom of the barrel was scraped and somebody came in there and ate these things.
So if you're just leaving loose carrots on the table, are you sure like the janitor's not cleaning them up or something? Or is it...
Yeah, it's usually just one. That's all like the end of the day they'll come in and clean. So I've seen people walk in, and sometimes it's like someone you don't even realize works there. You like think they might work there. It's like an old man who's like 75, and they'll walk in.
Some vagabond off the street.
So there's someone who you've never seen in your life just walk in, take a loose carrot off the table, and walk away.
I never understood why people would eat those like half-eaten pieces of food or whatever. Like we'll have like a bowl of bananas at work, and then somebody will take half the banana, right, and then just leave the other half there. Like, who's gonna eat that? But I guess there are people that will eat half a banana, but I'm not going to. I'm taking even if I don't want a whole banana, I'm taking the fresh banana, right? Like I'm not taking your banana leftovers.
I feel like they also sent an email out about donuts on bagels. Did I say that right? Bagels?
You said it wrong.
I vaguely remember people eating some bagels. They would like, just cut one in half and leave the other half sitting there. And they finally set out like, no one wants your half a donut. No one wants your mangled donut right. That your hand has been all over. Especially because they would do it to like a Boston cream donut. So you'd go in there and just like half a Boston cream donut just leaking custard into the box. Like, yeah, no, let me pick that piece of shit up. Which I love Boston cream, so sometimes I would. But yeah, just eat the whole fucking donut. If you don't want a donut, don't eat a donut. I don't get what just this commit or don't. I don't know why the half is. You're not making it that much healthier.
I remember there was a guy who sat kind of close to me. He was a couple cubicles over, and one time he brought in this big bowl of like kumquats that he'd gotten from like a kumquat tree in his yard or something. It was just sort of like a very like weird fruit, and he just was going to munch on them over the course of the next couple weeks or something, like have a kumquat a day, or I don't know exactly what his plan was. But then he came in one day, and something like half or 2/3 of the kumquats had been stolen out of the bowl. Like I'm talking like 15 kumquats just like missing. And he wasn't really like mad about it or anything. He was just sort of like more amused, like that somebody would come in, see a giant bowl of kumquats and be like, I need exactly 15 of these for something, and like not even like leave a note or whatever saying thanks for the kumquats, and just take the kumquats off the person's desk.
Then he sent an email out and was like, has anyone seen my kumquats? They made me shit violently last night. And suddenly there was 15 kumquats on his desk when he got back from lunch.
I think he was joking, but he was briefly considering like trying to see if they could dig up the security footage from like around his desk to see who it was, but then he was ultimately decided it wasn't worth it.
Yeah, when people steal or take the group's food, people get upset about it. Like I remember once there was 2 bags of Twizzlers on there, and then like a half hour later, both bags of Twizzlers were gone, and it was like a scandal, like trying to figure out who took these Twizzlers.
Well, then they also had to, at one point, make so we used to have some of our customers in for training like once a month or something like that, and they'd provide lunch like 2 or 3 of the days. And so there's always a good opportunity to get leftovers like during training week. But people would just start going in there and just getting in line, customers, and they'd be like, "No, they're leftovers. Sit down. If there's any left over, you can have them. Let the customers eat first." A bunch of assholes.
So how did the story end? Was the woman mad that he was using the creamer, or did his you got me, did that work?
It did work, or at least it worked enough to get him out of the room, like without her saying much. So at the end of the day, it could be a good lesson. If you get caught, then you just act like it was a huge, hilarious thing you were doing.
Novak, how much would you have to be paid at your work to just walk in? Like, say, whether it's creamer or say something like you saw somebody clearly mark their lunch, put it in the fridge, wait till they're in the kitchen with you. Just walk in, open it up, go like, "Huh, Daryl, huh?" And just open it up and start eating it right in front of them. How much would you have to get paid?
That would be humiliating. Probably a lot. Yeah, I always figure putting your name on your lunch just like tells the person who to watch out for. And they're like, "Oh, it's John's lunch." Like, "Oh, I know John's on the other end of the building right now, so I'm pretty safe to eat his lunch."
That's so awful.
Novak, you put a lot of thought into this. Are you the lunch guy? Are you?
I'm that
First,
guy.
I can't make sure I know what John is at all times.
Do you think when like they caught Jeffrey Dahmer and he was like mid-bite of like some human, he just looked up and was like, you got me, and then they let him go?
Is this your friend? Oh, you got me. I was eating him.
Oh, you didn't put your name on him, so I carved him up and cooked him in a pan.
When the police arrived at the gingerbread man's house and realized his house was made of the bodies of his victims. "Oh, you got me. My bad." Woo-hoo! Or whatever gingerbread man says.
Well, cannibalism is a nice last thought as we move into our snacking. So we're going to be trying 3 snacks, all of actual food. But we have a 5-point rating system here on the podcast. It's a love dat, like dat, indifferent to dat, dislike dat, and hate dat. We have a couple that are chocolate. Let's split those up. Let's start with the Bark Thins today. So our first snack we're going to be trying is the Fair Trade non-GMO Bark Thins, and it just says Bark Thins snacking chocolate, dark chocolate pretzel with sea salt. Have you guys had these before? Anything like this?
Never had these. I saw them in the store. There was maybe 4 or 5 different flavors, and this one seemed like the one with the best potential for being good. Plus, we haven't had anything with sea salt in a while, so I thought I would bring us back to our old friend sea salt.
I see these all the time in the checkout line at the grocery store, and I thought about getting them for the family.
Yeah, that's what they were. They were like right by the checkout, and so I impulse bought them. They smell very dark chocolatey.
I've never had them, and I thought from the picture on the front they were going to be like a chocolate covered pretzel, like full in pretzel form, and that's not what it is. It's kind of like a piece of like a brittle shaped type of thing, like a piece of bark, but it's got crumbled up pretzel pieces.
Yeah, this looks nothing like the package on the example on the package shows like a real shiny, smooth chocolate, but you're right, no, like almost like a thin layer coating a lot of different pretzels. This looks in reality like a giant hunk of chocolate with a couple random pieces of pretzel stuck in it.
I'm getting the sea salt.
The pretzel coverage is more than it looks like on top. You can see the pretzel pieces sticking out the top, but when you bite it, there's more pretzel in there, at least in the pieces I have. Some of the pretzels can't be seen from the
There's
top.
an awful lot of sea salt in here.
Yeah. I think it's a pretty good ratio, pretzel to chocolate. It's not too sweet either.
I agree.
Okay, then.
Um,
Yep, me too. Moving on.
Are these thinner or thicker than you would have liked, or just right?
They're thicker than I thought, given that the name is Thins.
Yeah.
But I think the thickness is pretty good. It is a lot of chocolate. I think it'd be hard to eat a lot of this, to eat too many of these, just because it's the sheer volume of chocolate.
Yeah, this is a weird snack for me because it's like almost, it's just like you're eating a mini candy bar.
I mean, one serving is three and a half pieces, so that's 200 calories.
All right, Geiger, you're going to lead us off. What do you think?
Yeah. I was expecting these to be better. I like dark chocolate. I like pretzels fine. I think it's too much chocolate for the pretzel. Like, I would prefer a little more pretzel in there. And at the same time, I find the sea salt almost overwhelming. Like, the taste in my mouth after I eat a bite is salt, not chocolate. And I like salty snacks, but if I'm eating chocolate, I want to taste chocolate. And I feel like the salt is like too dominant a flavor in it. I'm actually going to give this a dislike that. I'm not a big. It's okay. Okay would make it sound indifferent. I don't like it. I probably wouldn't eat it again.
As he put a piece in his mouth.
Well, I'm not going to throw away a single piece. I mean, that's...
I don't like it. I probably wouldn't eat it again. You a second later put it in your mouth, and then your hand went in the bag. Your hand went right into the bag again.
Look, eat it again means on another day. I have the rest of the day to eat it. It had Daryl's name on it, so I wanted to polish him off before he came back.
All right, so a dislike. Chad, what do you think?
These are frustrating, actually, because I actually think that these could be really, really, really good with just a couple tweaks. I think there does need to be just a little bit less salt. And then I think milk chocolate.
Milk chocolate from charcoal?
Yeah, chocolate for charcoals. I think milk chocolate instead of dark chocolate would be good. I think if you did those two things, just milk chocolate and a little bit less salt, I think this would be a love dat for me. I actually still think it's really good, though. I liked it more than I thought I would. So for me, this is going to get a like dat. That's pretty good.
This really surprised me. I was expecting I was going to give it a pre-dislike. I almost knew ahead of time I was going to dislike it. However, as I ate it, and I very rarely like dark chocolate, I enjoyed it. I thought the ratio was just about perfect, pretzel to chocolate. I love milk chocolate, but I'm not sure that would be better for this combo. And I know that the salt is heavy. I agree with that. But I like that as part of this. I think it works good. So I'm surprisingly going to give this a like that. Was not expecting it. So 2 likes and a dislike. A pretty decent start there for the Bark Thins. Let's move over to the late July Nacho Chipotle chips. So late July is the company, and then Nacho Chipotle is the flavor. I know I've seen at least a few other flavors this when I was checking out their website earlier. And I know like it being organic is one of the selling points here.
Yeah, both of these snacks, the one we just tried and this one, have labels on them proudly announcing that they are non-GMO verified, which, whatever.
Does any of that stuff mean anything anymore?
I like my food with GMO all over it, actually.
Like every product says that, so it doesn't mean anything.
Well, some of the stuff like I think like fair trade or like organic or whatever, these have sort of nebulous meanings. GMO actually has something that it's supposed to abide by, but then the problem is that like GMO isn't necessarily bad. So, it's sort of weird that people are like, I'm only going to eat stuff that's not genetically modified, and then that's just spitting in the face of science, you fucking heathens. So let's try this out.
I wish people at work would start labeling their lunches GMO or non-GMO. Save me a lot of time digging.
Hey, Daryl, I had some of your lunch the other day. It was not GMO. Looked like you had genetically modified the shit out of it, Daryl. It was like a headless chicken. Just I guess that's all chickens that you eat. But
What? Oh, wait. He genetically modified a headless chicken?
you modified it to not have a head in the first place. It was just more convenient for
Oh,
us.
okay.
You know, genetically modified is not the same as decapitation.
Yeah. No, he.
All those. Remember in season 1 of Game of Thrones when Ned Stark got genetically modified?
No. Say, first of all, spoilers. Second of all, no. I mean, he like genetically modified it so that at a molecular level, when it was born without a head. It just flopped out of the body and laid there out of the egg. All right, moving on. These are also something that claims that they're gluten-free, which, again, almost every tortilla chip is not gluten-free.
Remember when Jeffrey Dahmer genetically modified all those guys?
Something I was going to say, almost the exact same joke, which was, I was going to say, do you remember when Gingerbread Dahmer ate all those people because they were genetically modified?
Sorry, I didn't hear that one.
Gingerbread Dahmer? Is that his name now?
Yeah, his name's now Gingerbread Dahmer. And he sits in a house of his victims.
So I actually, there's a quick side story. It's sad. I'm not going to tell it. Actually, in retrospect, I'm just going to bring the podcast crashing down. But
did you kill and eat a man?
So it's going to be sad. But guys, I'm a cannibal.
And then put him in your work fridge and waited for the guy to steal it.
I made chili out of him and then sent an email that said, "Hey, leftover chili in the break room," and everyone sprinted over there and ate him. No, a family friend of ours knew somebody that was one of the first cops into Dahmer's apartment in Milwaukee. And they actually he had it was very hard for him. Like, I think he might have had to take a lot of time off and like a lot of therapy because it was pretty gruesome. And moving on. I realized halfway through I shouldn't have gotten into this story. But I mean, it's interesting and probably the right subject for another podcast, but not ours. So,
Okay, but do you have any family friends who were first into the Gingerbread Dahmer house? That's the real question.
Yeah, sprinkles and charcoals. Yeah.
It was bad enough that we were making Jeffrey Dahmer cracks, which really we should have been, and then really told a somber story about him.
You had to remind us why we shouldn't have been making those jokes.
Well, I'll get into the details in case this becomes nationwide, and then that guy's like, "Why are you putting my news out in the street?" That's how he talks.
All right.
All right, so the chips, Sid?
I don't know.
These are pretty good. I mean, they kind of taste just sort of like standard tortilla chips. My problem with them is that I was only able to eat 3, and then the heat built up a little too much. I mean, it says they are the Chipotle flavor, and they're not really very spicy, but eating a couple back to back, it built up a little more than I sort of really want. Whereas when I go for some tortilla chips, I just want to kind of, just mindlessly shove them in my mouth without thinking and just like blimp up and get super fat. So yeah, so these, I think I'm going to give these a mild dislike, Dad.
Okay. There's a little spice to it that's not bad. I just don't think the flavor is enough. They're spicy, but there's not enough cheese flavor or Chipotle spice there really to make me like it. And I'm just not feeling strongly one way or the other. I more than likely would not buy these chips again. Maybe to try a different flavor of Late July, but not this particular brand. I'm just going to have to go indifferent to that. Geiger?
Yeah, I think my problem is the opposite. I don't find them flavored enough. They're not spicy at all to me. They're not flavorful. They're just kind of there. They're a good consistency. They're decently crunchy. The flavor tastes fine. I just wish there was more of it. It's just kind of bland. They're not, if I see something that says Chipotle and I see like cheese and like seasonings on the picture, I'm going to assume it's got like a bold flavor, and this doesn't. So, to me, this is indifferent to that. They're fine, but nothing I would go out of my way to get again.
All right. So Bark Thins out in front, and the Hershey's bar coming up in the final segment. But right now we're going to have a little quiz, and if you listen to the Halloween episode, then you remember us talking about generic Halloween costumes, and I gave the guys a list of the names, and they tried to guess which real life costume that was. And today we're going to do the similar thing, but with food. So there's going to be 2 rounds for each of you, and I'm going to give you the generic version, the generic name, and you're going to have to tell me which. Now, the first one is all cereals. You're going to get, in each of your first rounds, you're going to get 5 generic cereal names. You need to tell me which cereals those are referring to. So let's start with Chad. Do you want to go first or second? You want list A or B?
I will go first with list B.
All right.
Just to make it stupid.
Got to be difficult.
Yep.
All right. So the first one is pranks. Which cereals is pranks?
Tricks.
Yes. Live it up.
Is there a cereal called Life? Let's go with Life.
Yes. 2 for 2. Fruit spins.
Fruit spins. I'm going to go Fruit Loops for that one.
3 for 3. All right. Crisp crunch.
Ooh, that could be anything. So let's go with cornflakes.
No, it was Captain Crunch. And finally, crispy hexagons.
Those are checks.
No, Crispix, which
Oh, crisp. Oh, checks are squares. I'm dumb.
That literally sounds like it was translated to Japanese or something and then back to English. Big American crispy hexagon.
All right, this other list I feel like might be a little easier. Okay, you got to get 4 out of the 5.
Okay, stop saying this shit before I go. I don't appreciate it, asshole.
I'm setting you up to be an asshole.
Licorice. We said cereal guy. All
right. Apple Orbits.
Apple Jacks.
Yes. Marshmallow Magic.
Lucky Charms.
Yes. Cocoa Nuggets.
Cocoa Puffs.
No, Cocoa Pebbles.
Oh, Cocoa Pebbles. All right, I wasn't wrong either way. Oh, Pebbles and Nuggets. Okay.
Bunch-O Cinnamon Squares.
Bunch of cinnamon squares? Cinnamon Toast Crunch?
Yes. Okay, this is it. The do or die.
Okay.
Cookies. KOO-KIES.
Cookie Crisp?
That's it.
All right.
Geiger gets round 1.
Well done, Geiger.
I would agree. I think that list was a little easier.
It was a little easier. Yeah. All right. So Chad, you're gonna get the first list this time through. All right. So this one is any kind of food product. These are all basically snacks. Could be a drink. Could be a snack.
It's gonna be rough.
All right. Cream betweens.
So many jokes I could make.
Did you find these on the dark web?
Cream betweens. Oreos?
Yes. That's it. Detos. DETOS. DETOS.
Doritos?
Oh, wow.
Yes. I can't believe you got that. Cat Kit.
Kit Kat.
Yes.
Nailed it.
This is gonna be an even tougher one. Prongles.
Pringles.
Yes. And finally, Nutmaster.
Nutmaster.
It's a tough one.
That's not Peter North. No, okay. Nutmaster.
No. Wasn't that your nickname in college, Chad? Nutmaster?
Yeah. Oh, what could that be? I'll just go with
Trojan condoms.
Planters peanuts.
No, it was Nutella.
Nutella. Oh.
That was a tough one.
I wasn't even thinking along those lines. Yeah.
All right, Geiger, you got to get 4 out of the 5 to tie. You got to get them all.
Oh, great.
All right. So it's not that tough a list. Cheddar Guppies.
Goldfish.
Yes. Panburger Partner.
That would be Hamburger helper. That's pretty great.
Yes.
I give that guy a lot of credit who made that up.
That one's an A+.
Mountain shoutin'. Mountain shoutin'.
Wait, what's the second word?
Shoutin', like you're yelling something. Mountain shoutin' with the no G on it.
Is that Mountain Dew?
Yes.
That's
Wow.
terrible.
I never would have gotten that.
The old mountain shoutin'. Dr. Bob.
Mountain Dew Code Red. No, hold on. Dr. Bob. Dr. Bob? Dr. Pepper?
Yeah.
What? Dr. Bob? Ugh.
Never gonna get this last one. Jive.
Yeah, say there's more to it, right?
Nope.
Just jive.
I give you a hint. It's a candy bar.
Oh, thank God, because that's not what I was going to guess. Jive. Jesus. Candy bar?
Just guess. It's way off. There's
Whatchamacallit?
Twix. For some reason.
That makes no sense.
So a tie there. Technically, Geiger is my Panburger partner and the winner of this round of guessing,
Where
so.
can you buy where can you buy like a generic Twix or whatever? I've never seen any of those. Like
I don't
the
know,
cereals,
yeah.
you see all the generic cereals, right?
Sure. I bet it was from another country or something.
Mm.
Is my guess, but it was like in the same wrapper. I was really stretching to find some of these.
I think I had heard of Prongles before. Yeah.
You've heard of Prongles?
It's a funny name. I wonder if the guy, instead of having a giant mustache, just has like a huge beard or something like that. It's like...
I'd heard of Mountain Shoutin' because that's what all the like Lithuanian X Games athletes were drinking when they were playing Call of Duty.
Right. When they were pushing their goats off a half pipe.
Right.
At least it's ones like pranks. I'll give them some credit. Like they put a little
Right.
thought into it that's kind of clever.
Yeah.
But
Right.
some of these, like Prongles and cream betweens and stuff, that's just
Cat Kit.
the cat.
The laziest names.
Cat Kit's the laziest one.
Cream between.
All right. So we do have a competition to finish off, and it's one snack left, and that's the Hershey's Cookie Layer Crunch. Now, I've seen these in the stores, but a bunch of different varieties of them. This one is the triple chocolate. I've seen some other flavors. Have you guys seen these in the stores?
I have, yeah. Now these are small bars. I bought it. It was like a bag of like half a dozen of these or something of the individual small bars. So I don't know if you can buy it as like a full size bar or if they only come in this smaller size.
I've seen the full size.
Oh, okay. This particular flavor we got was triple chocolate, which has chocolate cookie bits and chocolate cream inside the Hershey's bar. And so I picked this one out because I thought it was the most interesting looking of the flavors that they had there.
So let's talk Hershey bar in general. Of the many Hershey varieties that you see, which is your most preferred Hershey bar?
So the different options they have the regular Hershey or the dark or almonds, right?
They have like a cookies and cream.
We did the cheesecake one, right? And we did
Yeah, which is gross.
the salty pretzel one, yeah.
Which was nasty.
Yeah, right.
I just tried the other day. I tried the Hershey's bar that has Reese's Pieces in it, and that was outstanding. I really like that.
No shit. I like the almonds generally of all the bars. If I have to eat one,
You'll pick almonds?
I'll pick up an almond.
I don't know that I've ever eaten Hershey's candy bars that much. Like I use Hershey's when I make a s'mores, and like I've had them on this podcast. Usually when I'm grabbing a candy bar, though, it's not a straight up Hershey's. So I guess if we're talking about the little fun size ones you get like Halloween and stuff, I always used to like the special dark the best because I like dark chocolate. But
yeah, I would never buy just a plain Hershey's. Like, why would you ever do that when it's always sitting right next to a million better options?
For pretty much for s'mores.
Oh yeah,
And that's 95% of my Hershey's purchase.
S'mores or maybe like some baking or something.
All right, I'll start us off. I don't get this. I don't really like cookies inside of candy bars very much. I would never get this bar again. Not really feeling it. It's not terrible, obviously, but it's just hurt because I'm just hurt by the fact that I'm just confused about what they're going for. So I'm gonna give it a dislike dat. Geiger?
Okay, that was a surprise. I was surprised to see you so against it. I liked it. I thought it was good. I love chocolate. I like the little cookie bits in there. I thought they were good. They were like well distributed. The flavor was good. The chocolate was sweet. It has a nice like fudgy flavor to it that stays with me afterward. This is the kind of flavor I wish was in my mouth after the pretzel bark. I'd eat this over the pretzel bark a million times out of a million. It's a solid like that for me. I like it. So Chad, it's really down to you, I guess.
So to review the scoreboard,
Yeah.
the Bark Thins got 2 likes and a dislike, and right now the Hershey's has a like and a dislike. So a like here, and we've got problems. So Chad, what's it gonna be?
Well, there's no problems. There's not going to be a tie today. Everything about this is outstanding. This thing is so good. I really, 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 really like this. I love the filling on the inside. I love the fudgy flavor. The little cookie bits are really good. The chocolate's perfect. This is going to get a love dat from me.
Wow.
I think this thing's outstanding.
Out of the darkness.
This is the best thing we've eaten in a while.
The love dat
Bold
out of
statement.
nowhere for the victory. Man, that's the last second love dat.
The old Hair Mary love that for this thing.
I love dat like Gingerbread Dahmer loves his fellow gingerbread man.
I don't think you loved them.
You almost got
You
there.
loved the way they tasted.
You get through about 30% of that joke.
I couldn't make it.
All of our shows have some theme of, that's the one where we talked about Bitcoin or whatever. Like this is gonna be the one where we talked about gingerbread Dahmer.
It's got a real clear through line, so that I'd be like, tune in this week to hear about. Do you ever hate it when someone at work steals your food, or when he kills all your loved ones and eats them? They're basically this. It's a real line on the back. I don't know what you're pissing and moaning about. Right? Sells itself.
Comparable
Tune in to hear
scenarios.
thoughts about Pretzel Bark and Jeffrey Dahmer.
And then, so Geiger, where should they contact us if they want us to let us know about their favorite generic cereal, or if they have a life-changing experience where they entered a serial killer's home and then never forgot about it?
I think for the former, don't give a shit. And for the latter, you should probably get therapy. Or just like actually, in all honesty, if you walk into a suspected serial killer's house, you should contact the authorities. You can locate them at
You tried that at gmail.com.
www.authority.com. The authority.com. Call 1-800-AUTHORITIES and they'll get you right in touch with the right people. As far as our podcast is concerned, you can get in touch with us, as Chad said, at...
Well, we are the authority on snacks.
Hey, that's a good point. Man, I'm on top of my game today. Yeah, you can contact us at youtrydat@gmail.com. We are on Facebook. We have a Facebook group there. Hashtag YouTryDat on Twitter. We're on SoundCloud. We are on Instagram. We are on probably something I'm forgetting. We're all over the place. We're nationwide. We're inescapable. It's the drudgery of life. Death, taxes, and You Tried Dat are the 3 things you can count on. We appreciate you listening, and let us know if you have any feedback, questions, future snacks you'd like us to do, or if you suspect a loved one might be getting eaten slowly by their next door neighbor.
What?
This through line we had this episode leaves us with no good places at the end of the jokes.
We keep telling people who are either in danger or suspect of crimes to email people. Email the cops.
So I connected with the police chief on LinkedIn and I'm waiting to hear back.
Do you guys use LinkedIn?
Yeah,
Hell no. No way.
I do.
Fuck that.
Well, I used to be a recruiter and you
Is
kind of
LinkedIn just now? It's just a dating site now, right?
Right. Yes, that's it.
Slide into my DMs and give me a job. A hand job.
I'm looking for a hamburger partner, and I'm called the Nutmaster.
Yeah, LinkedIn is basically the worst of all of them, just because of like how much they spam you and stuff. With you're always getting like the email every 5 days, like so and so wants to add you to their network, and you like can't silence them no matter what you do.
Right.
I hate
Congratulate them on their work anniversary.
Yeah. The worst are when they say stuff like, "You've been friends for 3 years. You should acknowledge them." Like, don't tell me who to fucking talk to. I don't like it's like your annoying grandma telling you to call them. Not, I love you, grandma, but it's like, don't tell me I have to talk to somebody just because I arbitrarily clicked yes on an invite 3 years ago. Getting really angry at LinkedIn. Sorry.
Well, maybe you should talk to them.
I'm getting linked out.
Well, speaking of work anniversaries, we are coming up on a 1-year anniversary of You Tried Dat. And so next episode, we will celebrate the year that was YTD as we gear up for, in the near future, February, which will be Candy Month. So we'll be celebrating candy through the ages in February. So make sure that you are subscribed and ready to listen. But until then, we're going to take off. We'll see you next time when we'll be trying out 3 brand new snacks.
Deuces.
Yep.